We kill people based on metadata. But that's not what we do with this metadata. Okay?
Thankfully.
Wow, I was working up a sweat there for a second.
It's really important to understand the program in its entirety, not the potentiality of the program, but how the program is actually conducted. So NSA gets phone records, gets them from the telephone company. It's been getting them since October of 2001 under one authority or another. Puts them in a lockbox, to use a phrase that was popularized a few years ago, and under very strict limitations can access the lockbox. What it cannot do are all those things that David suggested that allows someone to create your social network, your social interactions, your patterns of behavior. One could make the argument that that may or may not be useful. One could make the argument that may or may not be legal, but it's not done. NSA does not launch powerful algorithms against this domestic database in order to see inherent patterns not visible to the casual observer. It doesn't do that at all. Here's what it does do. When NSA has what it's called a dirty number, a seed number is how NSA refers to it. And a seed number almost universally is a foreign number. And it's a number that NSA has a reasonable articulable suspicion is affiliated with Al-Qaeda. So you roll up a safe house in Yemen, you get somebody with pocket litter that indicates he's a member of the cell you thought was there, and he's got a cell phone. Now this is a new cell phone number. What you get to do against that ocean of data that NSA has admittedly collected, your phone bills and mine, what you get to do is kind of figuratively yell through the transom and say, hey, anybody in here talk to this number here in Yemen? And frankly, if a number out there near Fells Point says, well, yeah, I kind of do that about once a week, NSA gets to ask that number in Fells Point, so who the hell do you talk to? At which point, this program is over. That's all that's authorized to be done with the metadata. The last year for which NSA has full statistics, they got the yell through the transom 288 times with foreign seed numbers they had reason to believe were affiliated with Al-Qaeda. By the way, that permission to yell through the transom is confined to fewer than 24 people at Fort Meade, all specially trained and all whose keystrokes are monitored to make sure that everyone is doing this according to the FISA court direction. 288 times they yelled through that transom and said, hey, anybody here talk to this phone number I think's affiliated with the terrorist? And in those 288 inquiries, 6,000, a total of 6,000 over the course of a year, U.S. numbers were implicated for further examination, but further examination separate from this program and under law enforcement authorities and court orders under the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So in this debate, it's important to distinguish what might be done with what is being done. I mean, if you take the argument that if it might be done, then I should assume it is being done and therefore I oppose it, that's a pretty powerful argument for disarming your local police force. Okay? It's not a way a mature people should look at balancing how they want to defend themselves and preserve their liberties.